Welcome to the Devolution, a show to empower, enlighten, and entertain divas and those that love us.
Hey, welcome to the Devolution Show. It's really nice now. It was cold this morning, and it's supposed to be 80 tomorrow. But you know what? I started wearing flip-flops the first day. It was nice, and I'm not quitting. I froze today, but I still wore my flip-flops.
You go, girl.
Yeah, once it's spring, it's spring. So we're here in studio tonight, and we have Sandy with the Zingy Divas with us. And we have a person that I consider a friend, and he's also a self-made philosopher. He doesn't even know it. And you've heard me say this before, Terry, but what you say is so profound and so deep that it's been said throughout the ages, but you say it with a twist. You give it that little Terry Duperon twist. You're welcome. And I so admire you for that, the way you think, and you're just a cool guy. So thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you have to talk right into that mic so we can hear you.
You can move the mic
I am
to you, but don't break it like I did, okay?
I'm going to come over there. Sandy,
Want me?
let me hear you.
Do I sound all right now?
Yes, you do. You sound great. So, Tara, you were here once before, and it was right after I did that class, the class. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the class started out early as being an entrepreneur class, and I started out at Saginaw Valley, and I was to teach senior engineers how to be entrepreneurs, and we're having trouble with the
You're losing your train of thought.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, now just lean forward a little bit.
Okay, I can't move this. All right,
There.
we got it. Sorry for the delay. But I started out teaching senior engineers to be entrepreneurs, and I had not taught this class. It didn't exist before then, and ended up focusing how does an entrepreneur think, or how does anybody who creates anything think different than somebody who doesn't. So there was good engineers in the class, and they were well educated, but they struggled with creating, bringing something in the future doesn't exist now, and that's kind of a skill of entrepreneurs. It's a skill of artists. It's a skill of anybody who does that, no matter what that thing is. So as I got into the class, I started to realize we're all born creative. We're born with the ability to imagine. So if you look at a child before kindergarten, you'll see he lives in about a 98% imaginary world. So so we have it. We're born with it, and that's all you get is the ability to imagine. If you imagine a book, you're an author. If you imagine a business, you're an entrepreneur. If you imagine a painting, you're an artist. But it's the same thing we're all really born with. So as I got into the class, I started to see that there was a missing there, and that I thought I would think different than they thought, because I was able to get patents and was able to start companies. So it became the focus. Just what's that difference? It's the difference that allows you to bring something in the future that doesn't exist now. So that's where the class started. And then as we got through, the curriculum developed, and then I did it for about 3 years there, and then I thought if you're going to teach entrepreneurship, you ought to be able to start your own school. So I've done that, and so it's been going for about 16 years. Recently, I had an opportunity to do my first international class, and I was asked to be a keynote speaker in Ghana, Africa, by the university, and also to teach the class at the university. And I found a big difference in our culture. I had never been to a third world country before where people are poor, really poor, where they really don't know from one day to the next how they will live. And they seem to find a way. They kind of all are entrepreneurs in some way or another. They buy things, they sell things, they find a way to make a living for that day. But they are the most content, happy people I ever met. They are grateful for the little bit they got. Matter of fact, when I got back here, I was almost afraid to complain, or not afraid, but embarrassed to complain about anything, because the people have so little, and they're so grateful for that small amount they have. And they have dignity. And so I didn't expect to see the culture I did. It's really poor, but not in spirit. It's they have pride, they have a culture. The folks there do really well. And so anyways, as I got into the teaching entrepreneurship, the one thing I noticed about entrepreneurship in that environment was that they were not self-seeking. Most of the time when I run into a university setting, most of the entrepreneurial efforts is how to make more money, how to develop a career, how to get bigger houses, bigger cars, how to get rich. But over there, it was never about them. All of the students, and that's 100% of them, want to make a difference in their community. They want to make a difference in the orphanages. They want to make a difference in mental issues. So that and it was self-started and it was self-done, and they're all focused on that. So I was really impressed with the people in the class, and I was grateful that you would take the time to teach them. And such a different culture. So I don't think we have anything to teach people there, anyhow, about culture here. We tend to kind of whine and complain a lot, and we certainly have way, way more than they do. Now, in the main cities, there's wealth, but as soon as you get out of the main city, it's very, very poor. So it was a very eye-opening trip. I went to orphanages there. Again, they've had nothing. They didn't have a place to sleep. They slept outside. The kids would all get together and sing, and each person had purpose. And they made a difference, and they was content and grateful. It was I didn't expect to see that, because these children had lost their parents somewhere along the line. So there's got to be a lot of sad stories there. But again, they were grateful. So by the time I got back here, I got in my car from the airport, and the roads are clear. Over there, there's no stop signs. You get out of the city, there's no stop lights, there's no stop signs, and it could take you anywhere from a half hour to 3 hours to get to the same spot again. And time doesn't mean so much there. But I was impressed with the culture. And it ended up, a young lady was teaching autism. And she had started a little classroom she got probably from the church. And she decorated that. And she brought children in, and she was a teacher. And as I got talking to her more, she took the class I was given. And as I got talking to her more, I could see that she was financing this on her own. She had no government assistance. She had no other than her salary. So her salary's not that big. And how she got educated was somebody sponsored her. So they give her a cell phone, and they for every student they had a cell phone. So it's part of the program. So anyways, I got talking to her. She said that it just comes out of her salary, so she wants to make a difference in this. And I'm dyslexic, and so I have a kind of a soft spot for people with learning disabilities of any kind. And she was very interested in learning more about dyslexic. So I told her I would get her everything I could get for her from here and send it to her. So we kind of agreed we would correspond, in which we do. And I went I'm on the board of governors for the Dyslexic Foundation here in Bay City, and I talked to the people there, the teachers, and they said, Nancy said she would train her. If I could get her here, she would train her. So I went back to the university and seen if we could bring her here. and she's got everything but the final visa. But it looks like she'll be here in the last couple of weeks of October, in the first couple of weeks of November. So
how many students does she have?
Three that I've seen.
3 autistic students?
Yes.
And you have no idea how many dyslexic students?
She doesn't have any. She wanted to know about dyslexia.
Oh, so there might be some that it's not even known that they are.
Yeah, so she is kind of self-educated in this.
Excellent.
It's her interest to make a difference. So you get somebody that's that dedicated, that she's willing to spend her own resources and to make this happen. I believe in that, and I believe in what she's doing. I would like to see people help people with dyslexia. So she'll be coming, and she will get the training, and then the university is going to give her a lot more training.
Good.
And they're going to provide a place for her to stay, and all I have to do is pick up the plane ticket. But the university is doing an awful lot for her. So it looks good. So there was several things in that trip that were kind of eye openers. I had went to White Castle, which is where the slave trade was.
Oh, wow!
And
is it on the shore?
Yes, and they. To this day, I can't figure it out. We had a guided tour, and we went into the dungeons where they kept the slaves, and that were recently captured. And they were in the dark, and they may be in there for 3 months.
Oh.
No bathrooms. The floor is ankle deep, and they can't lay down. They can't sit down for 3 months. The food come in. They put them in their hands. So they had no dishes or anything. And they had no way to wash or clean up. And they were treated very, very bad. And I don't know why. I can't make sense of it. Because if you were selling any commodity, chickens, dogs, or horses, or cows, you would never treat them that bad. A lot of them died there. And they didn't necessarily take them out when they died.
Oh, that's terrible.
So the women were separated. Some of the younger women were raped, and if they were pregnant on a ship, they just got thrown overboard because they couldn't sell them.
Oh, my gosh.
So I don't know why. I don't know the why of it, why you would treat anybody that poorly. And if you look at it from a business, any commodity that you are going to sell someplace
you
else.
would want it in really good shape to get the most money you could.
It was eye-opening to me. I never knew that existed to that degree. And, right above the dungeon's a church.
Wow.
So they had a door there, the door to no return. So once you went through that door, you were on a ship, never to come back again. So that stuck out to me, that existed. I had no idea it was that bad. And I don't know the why of it.
So who was in charge of them? Were they other people from their villages,
Well,
or were they Europeans?
The Europeans that were it was European ships that carted them off, and the castle was run, I think, by the English at that time. So it was Europeans that were treating them like this and shipping them like this.
Terrible, terrible.
Yeah, and I was exposed to it. I was in the dungeon, and they shut all the lights off, so you got some sense of.
Well, that's a good reality.
Yeah,
Wow.
What these people went through.
Terrible.
Wow.
But and then they separated the men from the women, but a lot of them never survived it. So I don't know why. I don't know if they had so many, they didn't care. I don't know. So anyways, it has a pass. I think we every country does have a pass. That some's good and some's not good. But that doesn't exist now. So the whole trip for me was eye-opening. That's mostly what I can say about this.
One of there's two things that stuck with me from us talking earlier. One of them was about the children in the orphanage